I've literally had people who have taken the Lazy Investors course and afterwards decided to become a finance creator. Like, start posting about it. And I'm like, heck yeah, we need more. Hi, I'm Chloe, better known as Clo Bare Money Coach on the internet. In the last 2 years, I've taught thousands how to build wealth the lazy way. In this course, I'd like to provide you with some context on how the stock market works and what you can expect, explain which accounts I recommend getting started with, and how to start investing, even if you know nothing about investing. In this lesson, let's talk about the stock market, what it is, and what you can expect. Now, you might be wondering, why lazy investing? Well, what I've found is that folks often connotate investing with complicated and confusing techniques that just feel overwhelming. So instead of trying to learn how to invest, they push it off and they think, investing is for other people. It's definitely not for me. I actually had those own thoughts in my life where I thought, I'm not smart enough to understand this. I'm not good enough at math to do this, which, by the way, you'll learn investing is not about learning how to math. It's about learning a new language. But for me, for a time, I thought, I'll just try and save my way to wealth in retirement. But what if I told you that you cannot simply save your way to wealth in retirement? It doesn't work that way. Think about it this way. If you saved $1,000 a month in a high yield savings account for 40 years, with a 0.5% average annual return, in 40 years, you'd have $531,000 saved. So a high yield savings account, for those of you who are wondering what the heck is a high yield savings account, a high yield savings account is just a regular bank account that provides you with more interest on your money. Most of the time, the high yield savings accounts are online only, so they don't have brick and mortar stores that are going to basically eat away at the interest that they pay you. So think about it this way. Your average bank account is probably going to be giving you 0.01%, 0.03%, all the way up to maybe 0.05%. An average high yield savings account is at least 0.5% right now. If you invested $1,000 a month in the S&P 500, which has averaged about 10% average annual returns for the last 50 plus years, you could have $5.36 million in 40 years. Big difference, huh? And that's with doing the same amount of work. In both scenarios, we're using $1,000, but in the scenario of investing, our money is working a lot harder for us. So, how do we get lazy with our investing? We get lazy by not trying to time the market, and instead, we buy the whole market and we spend time in the market instead. Think about it this way. We prioritize time in the market over trying to time the market. The old way to invest? Buying low and selling high. What's the issue with this? Well, this is something called timing the market. This means you spend time watching a stock price to see when the best time to buy is when it's low and the best time to sell when it's high. Sounds logical, right? So what's the issue? Even though this sounds really simple, it's actually incredibly difficult to do this, and even the greatest minds in finance fail to do this consistently over the long term. This is a graphic of the Dow Jones Index over the last 100 years. The Dow Jones contains about 30 different blue chip stocks inside of it, which, by the way, blue chip is just a fancy word for solid companies with solid returns over a long period of time. The Dow Jones was designed to be an indicator of how the overall US stock market is doing with just 30 stocks. What do you notice about the chart? A lot of ups and downs, right? But overall, we're heading in the right direction, up. Now, here's why trying to time the ups and the downs is so difficult. So many different things impact the performance of the stock market. The economy, business decisions, news events, investor emotions, panic, prolonged rising prices, and so much more. Notice, out of all of those things, we control so little, just our emotions and panic. And there are more costs to trying to time the market. Trying to time the market means you could be missing out on some of the best days of a market performance. There have been multiple studies to show this, including a study done by JP Morgan that showed that if you missed just the 10 top best days in the stock market from 1999 to 2018, your overall return was cut in half. My favorite pseudo study was actually a bet by Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett did an infamous bet to see if hedge fund managers, whose job is literally to beat the market, he wanted to see if they could do better than the S&P 500 index fund over 10 years. We'll talk more about index funds later, but imagine buying 500 of the largest stocks in the US and holding them through these 10 years. You're not buying, you're not selling, you're just holding on. Guess what happened? The S&P 500 index fund made 7.1% on average per year, and the hedge fund, it made 2.2%. Now, as lazy investors, we buy and we hold low-cost, diversified investments for the long term. No timing the market, no trying to figure out the best time to get in and the best time to get out. Instead, we invest and we chill. And that's what lazy investing is all about.